For denying my sister-in-law my house after she attacked me in front of 150 guests? My name is Rachel Bennett. I am 33 years old and I work at a real estate development company in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I am not just starting out, to be honest. It took me years to climb the ladder, endure, study, stay late, learn how to negotiate, and today I hold a senior position. I am not saying this to brag. I am saying it because I earned it. And almost 2 years ago, I finally bought my house. I still remember the day they handed me the keys. I was trembling. It was not a tiny apartment. It was a real house in a suburban neighborhood in Frisco, Texas. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a spacious kitchen with granite countertops, and a living room with huge windows that let in all the morning light. I fell in love with it the moment I saw it. I spent months choosing everything, the paint tones, the furniture, down to the door handles. I wanted it to feel like my own place, not just any house. I painted the main wall of the living room a deep petroleum green. I know there are people who see it and say it is too much, but I love it. The curtains are cream-colored with little gold threads, and they look incredible against my dark gray sofa. In the middle, I placed a reclaimed wood coffee table that I found in a workshop around the Bishop Arts District in Dallas. It was expensive, yes, but every time I see it, it gives me peace. My house feels like me. My parents, well, they're decent people, I guess. My dad, Roger, has worked at the United States Postal Service for years. My mom, Paula, stays at home most of the time, but she handles the accounting for a few small businesses. We are not a rich family. We always got by, sure, but just barely. They still live in the same 2-bedroom house in Mesquite, Texas, where I grew up. And then there is my younger brother, Derek. Derek is 29. He works in the marketing department of a mid-sized company in the Dallas area. He was always the baby of the house. My parents still treat him as if he were 15, and sometimes that drives me crazy, but I also understand it. He is my brother. Almost 2 years ago, he started dating a girl from his work. Courtney and he met at the same company on the same floor in different teams. From the very beginning, I disliked Courtney. Not because she is pretty, nor because she grooms herself, nor because she dresses well. I do not care about that. I disliked her because of the way she looks at people, as if she were constantly evaluating and deciding who is worthy and who is not. Courtney always arrived looking impeccable. Blonde hair, perfect makeup, designer clothes, even if it was just a random Tuesday. And that way of speaking with a little smirk, as if she were doing you a favor by talking to you. The first time I truly clashed with her was at my housewarming party. I was thrilled. I had invited my parents, Derek, and some friends. I set out snacks, sodas, ordered a simple catering, and spent my time showing off the house like a little girl with a new toy. My mom walked through the rooms, touching the walls, peeking into the closets. "It is huge, Rachel," she told me. "It is pretty, yes, but I do not know, is it not too much for just you?" My dad behind her was nodding. "Well, yes, sweetie. This is like a family house. So many bedrooms. What do you need so many for?" I laughed it off, trying to downplay it. I like having space. Sometimes I work from home. One room is an office and the other one I want as a guest room in case you guys or anyone else visits. But I saw their faces. It was not exactly envy, but it looked similar. It was as if they did not understand why I deserved so much space if I did not have a partner or children. And Courtney was there, of course, glued to Derek's arm. She spent almost the entire afternoon giving her opinion. Not directly, she said it with that little tone of fake politeness. "Oh, that green is daring," she said, looking at my wall as if it had personally offended her. "I love it," I replied. She made one of those sounds that do not sound like agreement. Then she continued. "The kitchen tile is interesting. The bathroom choice is different. How brave of you to choose those curtains." She said everything as a sugar-coated critique. I smiled and replied, "Thank you," out of politeness, but inside I was boiling. Who was she to come into my house and judge every detail? I had thought of everything. I had saved for years for the down payment and was still paying the mortgage. It was my dream. And there she was, making observations as if it were her project. Over time, Derek and Courtney started coming over occasionally. Well, Derek came over and Courtney came glued to him, and every visit was the same. "If you ever want decoration advice, I took some design classes," she dropped on me once, as if offering me a service. "Thanks, but I am happy with my house," I answered. Sure, I imagine, she said with that voice that means the exact opposite. Another time she suggested I tone down my colors. Neutral tones are more timeless, she stated. I would just breathe and bite my tongue because I did not want any trouble with Derek. He looked happy with her, even though I could not understand why. She was pretty, yes, but being around Courtney was like walking with a pebble in your shoe all day. The final straw came about 8 months after the housewarming. I invited them over for dinner. I made pasta, salad, bread, something simple. Courtney arrived with a face that looked like she was there for an inspection. As soon as she walked in, without even sitting down, she blurted out, "Rachel, I have been thinking about your living room for a while." I put the plates on the table without saying a word. "Have you not considered painting over that green? It is very heavy, and with those curtains it feels like too much information." My patience ran out right there. I turned around and looked at her with the sweetest smile I could fake. "You know what, Courtney? When you buy your own house, you will be able to use all your talent however you want." Derek became uncomfortable. "Rachel, enough." "No, Derek," I said, no longer wanting to hide my feelings. "I am tired of her criticizing my house every time you come over with her. This is my house and I like it." Courtney straightened up, offended. "I was just trying to help." "Yeah, it shows," I replied with sarcasm without hiding it. She grabbed her purse. "Derek, let's go." "Courtney, wait," he said, but she was already heading for the door. Derek followed her, and before leaving, he shot me a look of disappointment that was completely uncalled for. "That was wrong, Rachel." They left. I closed the door, stayed alone in my living room with my petroleum green walls and my cream curtains, and felt a strange relief, as if I had finally said what I had been swallowing for months. After that, Derek stopped talking to me for a while. Weeks went by with no messages, no visits. I knew he was upset, but I also knew I was not going to apologize for defending my home. 2 months later, my cell phone rang while I was in my home office, reviewing land proposals and budgets. I saw Derek's name and was very close to not answering, but I did. "Hello, Rachel," he said. He sounded excited, nervous. "Hi, what is up?" "I am doing great. Actually, I have some news. Courtney and I are getting married." I leaned back in my chair. I cannot say I was surprised, but a knot still formed in my stomach. "Oh well, congratulations." "Thanks. The wedding is in a month." Courtney found an awesome venue in a hotel downtown Dallas. And we already have everything. Obviously, you are invited. You are my sister. I want you to be there. Despite everything, I felt a little tingle of excitement. Derek was my brother, and if he was happy, I wanted to be happy for him. Even if I utterly despised Courtney. "Of course I am going to go, Derek. I would not miss it." "That is great," he said. And then his voice changed. It got weird. "There is just one other thing." I already knew where this was going. "It is going to be expensive. You know, the venue, the food, Courtney's dress, flowers, everything. Do you think you could help us with the expenses? You are doing well at your job." And I thought that. I looked at my papers, the mortgage, the bills, what I still owed. And yes, I earned good money, but it was not magic. There were weeks when everything went toward payments. "How much do you need?" I asked. There was a pause. "We were thinking like $20,000. I stayed quiet for a second. It was a huge amount. I took a deep breath. In that moment, I thought about my annual bonus, a little stash I had saved for emergencies, and the fact that he was my brother. "I can give you $10,000 right now," I stated before I lost my nerve. Silence. "Oh, okay," he replied, trying to sound grateful, but his disappointment was noticeable. "Well, thanks, Rachel, really." We hung up, and I was left staring at the cell phone. $10,000 was crazy. I had never given that much money to anyone, and it was money that, if I let it go, would make things tight for me all month. But that same afternoon, I made the bank transfer just as I promised. Derek sent me a text message. "Thanks." And that was it. Not a call, not a conversation, nothing, just thanks. As if I were an ATM. A few days later, my mom called me. That was strange. My mom almost never called unless something was up. "Rachel, I need you to come to the house today. We have to talk seriously. Can you come tonight?" I thought they were going to scold me about the money. That Derek had told them I only gave him $10,000 instead of what he wanted. All right, I will be there around 7, I told her. I left with time to spare, but even so the freeway was already jammed. I arrived a little bit after 7. When I parked outside my parents' house in Mesquite, I saw Derek's car. Perfect, I thought. Family meeting. I walked in without knocking as usual, and there they were. My mom, my dad, Derek, and Courtney sitting around the dining table as if they were a jury. I sat in the chair they had left open. Hello, I said, looking at everyone. Hello, sweetie, my dad replied, barely raising his hand. Derek smiled, but with a tense face. Courtney just looked at me with an expression I could not read. What is going on? I asked. My mom cleared her throat. Well, Derek and Courtney are getting married next month. I know. Derek let me know. Congratulations again. I mentioned, looking at both of them. Thanks, Courtney said coldly. My mom continued. The issue is that after the wedding, they are going to need a place to live. I frowned. Do they not already live together in their apartment? No. Well, yes, Derek muttered. But it is a rental and it is ugly. It is tiny and the area is not good. I shrugged. Well, a lot of people rent. It is no big deal. Courtney leaned forward. I do not plan on living in a rental after getting married. I want a house in a nice neighborhood. Right then I felt the air grow heavy. Well, then look for a house to buy, I suggested. Save up, look at options. My mom took a deep breath like someone preparing to drop a bomb. They cannot afford it right now, Rachel, and even less for a house like the one Courtney wants. Then let them keep renting in the meantime, I answered. That is the normal thing to do. My dad spoke for the first time with that voice that says I am always right. Family helps family. I felt a shiver. What do you mean? My mom looked straight at me. We think you should give your house to Derek and Courtney. For a second I truly thought I had misheard. Excuse me. Your house is too big for just you, Courtney stated, as if she were speaking about something obvious. You have leftover rooms. I looked at the three of them and then at Courtney. They were all staring at me as if that idea was completely reasonable. Are you guys being serious? I asked, already feeling my hands tremble. Do not be dramatic, my dad reprimanded. You earn good money. You can buy yourself something else, something more appropriate, Courtney added. Like a nice apartment, smaller, more manageable. I stood up abruptly. The chair dragged and made an ugly noise. I am not going to give my house away to anyone, I declared. Not to Derek, not to you, not to anyone. Are you listening to me? Rachel. Sit down, my mom ordered, trying to control the scene. Let's talk calmly. Calmly. I repeated in disbelief. You are asking me to give away the house I worked hard for years to get. The house I am still paying off. The house I love. Courtney scoffed. Such selfishness. You have not been a good sister. I turned to look at Derek. Do you want this too? My house. Derek shifted uncomfortably in his chair, without really looking at me. Rachel, it would help us a whole lot. That was it. That was enough for me. I grabbed my purse and left. I did not yell. I did not make a scene. I left, drove to my house as if on autopilot. I stayed parked outside staring at my facade for about 10 minutes. My house, my place, and they wanted me to hand it over to them as if it were something of no importance. The next day the messages began. My mom, my dad, Derek. Think about it. Be reasonable. He is your brother. Family comes first. As the days passed, the tone grew heavier. My mom sent extremely long texts about her disappointment. My dad talked about loyalty. Derek only wrote, please. I did not answer a single one. About a week later they stopped insisting. I guess they got tired or were certain I was going to cave in. The wedding was still on, and despite everything, I planned to go because Derek was my brother, and I was not going to let Courtney push me out of his wedding. On the day of the ceremony, I got ready calmly. I put on a navy blue wrap dress, understated, elegant. I did my makeup, fixed my hair, and requested an Uber to go to the hotel downtown Dallas. I left with plenty of time because that area gets congested, especially if there is an event. It seemed weird to me that they did not send me the gift registry, but oh well. Several couples now prefer an envelope or a wire transfer, so I decided to give cash. In the end, money is always useful. From my banking app, I made a transfer of $1,000 with a memo that read, "Wedding gift from Rachel." $1,000 seemed like a generous gift to me, especially considering that I had already given them $10,000 for expenses. I arrived at the hotel and yes, it was luxurious. You could feel it right from the entrance. The main hall was decorated with white flowers and golden details, straight out of a magazine. There were so many people. I looked for the seating chart. I found my name. Table 12. The head table was at the front with the couple and close family. Mine was quite far back. It made me oddly angry, but I swallowed it. It was obvious that Courtney had handled the seating arrangement and nobody said a thing. I was not going to fight over that. As I was sitting down, someone tapped my shoulder. I turned around and saw Michael Reynolds. Michael was the director at the company where Derek and Courtney worked, and he had also been my friend for years. We met through a mutual contact at a work conference and kept in touch over time. When Derek was looking for a job, I asked Michael to consider him. Thanks to that, Derek got into that company. "Rachel," Michael greeted, smiling. "It is so good to see you. How have you been?" "Oh man. Hanging in there," I replied with a tired smile. "And you?" We chatted for a bit. Michael looked serious but kind as always. Then he told me he had to go to his table. I watched him walk toward a table near the front. Table 3. I thought to myself, look at that. And I was left with that bitter little taste that sometimes people seat whoever benefits them the most closer to the front. The ceremony was beautiful, I will not deny it. Courtney looked spectacular in her dress. Derek looked happy, genuinely happy. For a moment I forgot about the feud and thought, well, I hope things go well for them. Afterward came the cocktail hour. Then the dinner and the toasts began. The usual stuff. A male friend, a female friend, the parents. And then my mom stood up and took the microphone. "And now," she announced, "we want the groom's sister Rachel to say a few words." I felt the heat rise to my face. I did not know I had to speak. Nobody had told me, but I got up, walked to the front, took the microphone, looked at the crowd, then at Derek, then at Courtney. "Hello everyone," I greeted. "I am Rachel, Derek's sister. I just want to say that it brings me great joy to see him this happy. Derek, you will always be my little brother and I wish you the best. Courtney, welcome to the family. I hope you have a beautiful life together." I was going to hand the microphone back to my mom when I saw Courtney's face. She was red, tense, furious. Before I could understand what I had said wrong, Courtney stood up and practically snatched the microphone from me. "Actually," she declared with a loud voice that echoed throughout the hall, "I do not want Rachel to be here." The silence was immediate. One of those silences that crushes you. Courtney kept talking fast, loaded with rage. "Rachel is one of the most selfish people I have ever met. Do you want to know what she gave us as a wedding gift?" I felt the floor drop beneath me. $1,000, she scoffed as if it were a joke. "And you know what? We asked her for her house. Her huge empty house that she does not even use because she lives alone." People started whispering. I felt my face burning, as if they were throwing a spotlight right on me. "Courtney, please," I pleaded, stepping closer. "Let's talk about this in private." She shoved my hand away. "No, let everyone know what kind of person you are." I tried to take the microphone again, and she moved to dodge me. In the scuffle, she struck me across the face in front of more than 150 people. The hall froze. I stood there with my cheek burning, feeling the sting. I turned to look at my family. My dad was glaring at me with a reproachful look, as if everything were my fault. My mom was pressing her lips together indignantly. At me. Derek had his eyes glued to his plate. He did not even look at me. Courtney's parents were there, shaking their heads as if I had it coming. I could not believe it. I waited, if only for someone to say, "That is enough." For someone to stand up, for someone to do something. Nobody did anything. My mom approached me and whispered in my ear softly, as if I were the one ruining everything. "Do not make a scene. Just get out without causing a fuss. You are making us look bad. You have ruined enough already." I stood completely still for a second. My throat closed up. I said nothing. I went back to my table. I grabbed my purse and walked toward the exit. I felt everyone's eyes on me like needles. At the hotel entrance, I stood in the lobby trying to catch my breath, waiting for my Uber in the driveway. My face still burned and my chest felt tight, as if I could not get any air. And then I heard, "Rachel." It was Michael. He looked serious, worried. "I saw you leave. Are you okay?" I let out a short, bitter laugh. "No, I will give you a ride," he offered. "I am not going to leave you here." "You do not have to." "Yes, I do," he interrupted. "Let's go." On the way, no longer able to hold it in, I broke down. "I have helped Derek so many times, Michael," I sobbed, my voice shattered. "I got him into your company. I have lent him a hand with rent when he was struggling. My parents too. And look at how they treated me." Michael gripped the steering wheel tightly. "I know. I have seen everything you do, and what happened today was wrong, very wrong." We arrived at my house. I thanked him, got out, went inside, and hopped straight into the shower, as if the water could wash the shame off me. I turned off my cell phone and went to sleep. The next morning I woke up late. When I turned my phone on, I had a ton of missed calls and messages from Derek, my mom, my dad, all demanding that I fix the situation. I did not understand what they were talking about. I answered a call from my mom and it was a mistake. "Rachel," she screamed without a greeting. "What did you do? What are you talking about?" "Derek and Courtney were suspended from work," she shrieked. "They got an email last night, and Human Resources spoke to them this morning. They do not want them there anymore. They already fired them." I froze. I looked at the clock. It was Monday, still early. "I did not do anything," I swore. "Nothing." "Of course you did," she yelled. "You are friends with the boss. You told him to fire them." "I did not ask Michael for anything," I replied, my voice firm now. "If he made a decision, it was because of what he saw." "Then call him right now," she demanded, "and tell him to take it back." A laugh escaped me, but not out of amusement. Out of anger. "No," I flatly refused. "I am not going to call him. If things are going badly for them, it is because of what they did. I am not going to lift a finger." I hung up. I blocked my mom, my dad, Derek, Courtney, everyone. I blocked them on my cell phone, on text messages, on social media. I just could not take it anymore. On Monday morning, as I was getting ready to head to the office, I heard pounding on the door, loud bangs, and then shouting. "Rachel, open up right now." It was my mom. "We know you are in there," my dad hollered. I peeked out my bedroom window. The four of them were standing right there in front of my gate. Derek, Courtney, my mom, and my dad. The subdivision security guard was watching from his booth, as if he did not want to get involved. Courtney's face was swollen from crying, and she was screaming as if I had done something terrible to her. "You ruined our honeymoon," she shrieked. "We cannot go anymore because we have no jobs. It is your fault." I opened the window just a crack, enough for them to hear me without letting them inside. "I did not ask anyone to fire you," I clarified. "Michael saw what you guys did at the wedding and made his decision." My mom stepped closer, her expression hardened. "You are being resentful. You are being ungrateful. After everything we have done for you." I clenched my jaw. "After everything you have done for me? Like asking me to give my house away? Like staying quiet after they struck me?" My dad raised his voice. "We are your family. In a family, you do not strike someone across the face in front of everyone." I shot back, trembling but firm. "And if you do not get off my property right now, I am going to dial 911. It was not an empty threat. I had my cell phone in my hand. They stood frozen for a second. Then they started talking over each other, but in the end they left. Courtney still managed to scream a couple of sentences from the sidewalk. I closed the window and leaned against the wall, panting as if I had been running. After that, they stopped coming over, but I found things out through the family. My cousin Leah, whom we all call Leah, phoned me a few weeks later. "Hey," she told me in a low voice. "Just so you know, Derek and Courtney found jobs, but not like the ones before. They are at much smaller companies and they earn less." "Uh-huh," I responded. "And they moved into a cheaper apartment. Your parents are furious. They say they threw the wedding on credit cards and now they are drowning in debt." I stayed quiet. I felt no joy but no guilt either. I felt exhausted, yet at the same time lighter. About a month after the wedding, my mom called me from an unknown number. "Rachel." She spoke in a different tone, almost sweet. I think we should meet and talk. There is nothing to talk about, I replied. You cannot be angry forever, she insisted. We are your family. We need to fix this. Your dad is not doing well. And Derek is desperate. Desperate for what? I questioned bluntly. My mom took an extra second to answer. Because they need help, even if it is just for you to talk to Michael so he does not close doors for them so that you know. I figured it out right then. No, I refused. We do not have to fix anything. You made my place very clear, and I no longer want to live like that. Are you going to cut your parents off like this? She whimpered, her voice breaking. But I already knew that trick. I did not cut anything off, I answered. You cut me off when you asked me for my house and when you stayed quiet. Goodbye. I hung up and blocked that number too. And the weird thing is that I felt relief without their messages, without their demands, without their passive-aggressive remarks. I finally had enough hours in the day. I focused on my work. I got a promotion. I fixed up the guest room exactly how I always wanted. I took up pottery classes on the weekends. I started laughing again without feeling guilty. And Michael stayed close. He called me a few days after the wedding to see how I was doing. We started chatting for 5 minutes and ended up talking for hours. One day I asked him point blank, "Were you the one who fired them?" Michael remained silent for a second. I made the decision to remove them from the project and ask Human Resources to review the case, he explained. What I witnessed at that wedding told me everything I needed to know. I do not want people in the company who believe that humiliating someone like that is okay. And Courtney's behavior was completely out of control. I cannot have her representing the company. I took a deep breath. I did not know how to feel. On one hand, it was harsh. On the other hand, it was fair. Over time, Michael and I started seeing each other more. First grabbing coffee, then dinners, then peaceful walks. 3 months later, it was no longer we are dating. It was a relationship. And what surprised me the most was that Michael never pressured me to forgive. He never dropped the "but they are your family" line on me. One night, sitting in my living room with my petroleum green walls, he told me, "You are generous. And they took advantage of it. You did not deserve anything they did to you." 6 months have passed since that wedding. Through Leah, I found out that Derek and Courtney are hanging in there, adapting to their new jobs, making less money. They canceled their honeymoon. Sometimes I feel a tiny bit bad, I will not lie, but most of the time I do not think about them anymore. I still live in my house. I still love every corner. Nobody comes in to criticize my paint or to tell me what I should do with my rooms. Nobody demands that I hand over what took me years to achieve. Things are going well with Michael. We have talked about living together someday, maybe buying a place together with no rush, no pressure, no strings attached. And I learned something that used to be hard for me to accept. Family is not just blood. Family is also who respects you, who takes care of you, who does not use you. I already spent too much time trying to earn a seat at a table where they always wanted me quiet, useful, and grateful. The people who asked for my house, who criticized me, who humiliated me, and who stayed silent when they struck me, those people do not deserve a space in my life. Even if we share a last name, today I am more at peace than I have been in years. My job is going well, my house is still my safe place. And I am with someone who finally looks at me the way I deserve to be looked at. Comment. This story really hit me hard. Protecting your own peace is never selfish. Setting clear boundaries with family can be one of the toughest things to do. I believe we all deserve respect, especially from the people who are supposed to love us. True kindness should never come at the expense of your self-worth. Sometimes, choosing to step back is the most responsible decision you can make for yourself. Healing begins when we stop accepting treatment that hurts us. Take a moment to reflect on the relationships in your life. You deserve to be surrounded by people who truly support and respect you. Choosing peace and self-respect will change your life for the better. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.